Democrats have proposed a new bill that could give you $2,000 checks every month, and it has many of you talking on social media. The two House Democrats behind the proposal say the one-time $1,200 checks just simply won't be enough. News 19's Alicia Nieves tells us more.
Many South Carolinians are $1,200 richer this week. It's thanks to the one-time check from the CARES Act, which passed last month. Now, a new bill called the Emergency Money for the People Act is looking to give Americans more money as the unemployment rate continues to skyrocket. In fact, since the CARES Act was passed, 16.6 million Americans filed new claims for unemployment benefits. Here's how the proposed bill would work. Every American 16 and older making less than $130,000 a year would get at least $2,000 a month. Married couples earning less than $260,000 would get $4,000 a month. Families would get $500 per child per month for up to 3 children. Payments would be guaranteed for 6 months and would continue until 60% of people over 16 years old are back to work. The measure would also close a loophole in the CARES Act, allowing college students and adults with disabilities to get payments even if they are claimed as a dependent on someone else's taxes. We reached out to South Carolina lawmakers to get their take on the bill. U.S. Congressman and House Majority Whip Jim Clyburn said, "Once it became clear that the coronavirus pandemic would result in severe economic harm, I have advocated for direct payments to Americans that are targeted based on need and that continue as long as our economy remains in peril. The one-time direct payments provided in the CARES Act are an important first step, but dire economic reports have made it abundantly clear that additional assistance will be needed to support American families and businesses. As soon as more lawmakers respond, we will pass along that information." Alicia Nieves, News 19, WLTX.
Well, the stimulus checks under the proposed bill would not count as income, and eligibility will be based on 2018 and 2019 tax returns. We have more information on this for you on our website, WLTX.com.
The IRS has already started depositing economic impact payments, or what some are calling stimulus checks, into people's bank accounts. More than 80 million Americans are expected to get their payments by Wednesday. But if you don't get yours, there will soon be a way to track it. On Friday, the IRS plans to launch an online tool called Get My Payment. This will let you check the status of your payment and find out when it will be deposited into your bank account or mailed to you. If you filed taxes for 2018 or 2019 with direct deposit information, received Social Security or disability benefits, your payment will show up automatically in your bank account. You do not need to do anything. If you filed your taxes for 2018 or 2019 but did not sign up for direct deposit, the Get My Payment app will also give you the option to enroll in direct deposit, so you don't have to wait for a check to come in the mail. If you're not normally required to file a tax return, you will need to go to irs.gov and use their new web tool for non-filers so you can get your payment. Once you get your payment, the IRS will mail you a letter within 15 days that says how the payment was made and how to file a report if you didn't get it. We've also had some people ask what to do if there's a mistake with their payment amount. For example, I spoke with one man today who received his direct deposit but said he didn't get the payment he was expecting for his child. Well, the answer is not so clear. I talked to a local spokesperson for the IRS and was told they aren't answering questions about these payments. They referred me to the National IRS Media Line and the U.S. Treasury Department Media Line, but nobody has returned my call yet. I'm Lindsay Nadrich, KGW News.
We continue to hear from so many of you each day who are still waiting to receive your stimulus checks. Since it's the first day of a new month, that could likely go to help with your rent or your other bills. So tonight we put together this timeline for you.
From now through September, the IRS will reportedly mail out about 5 million paper stimulus checks every week. Tens of millions of people have already received their stimulus payments. Millions more are still waiting. Here's what we know tonight. Today, checks were mailed out to people with incomes between $20,000 and $30,000. A week from today, on May the 8th, they'll go to people with incomes between $30,000 and $40,000. The process will continue until September the 4th. On September the 11th, the IRS will send remaining payments to those with no prior direct deposit information. You can check the status of your stimulus money by using the IRS's Get My Payment application. It will tell you the status of your payment, whether it's direct deposit or a check, and whether they need more information from you. If Get My Payment returns a status not available message, that means the application doesn't have your data or that you are not eligible for a payment.
Now, we've posted the link to that Get My Payment app on our WSOC News app so you can track your stimulus money.
Yeah, any good news welcome at this point, right? Well, the news is that folks on Social Security will not have to file a tax return in order to get their federal stimulus check. Those are expected to be mailed out here within the next week or so. And the Treasury Department officials there announcing that Americans on Social Security or disability will no longer have to file taxes to get their coronavirus check. Now, previously, folks who under normal circumstances would not have to file their taxes, they were going to have to submit a simple tax return in order to be eligible. The stimulus payments will now happen automatically with the information already on hand at the IRS. Now, this move happening after 41 senators got together and penned a letter to President Trump and his administration urging officials there to reconsider the initial position. Congressman Ben McAdams of Utah also calling on the Treasury Department to make these changes and to streamline this process. McAdams went on to say that the CARES Act is designed to deliver immediate help to Americans and that it is just wrong for the IRS to create unnecessary hurdles for these individuals. He says he hopes now the government agencies will work together to uphold the intent of this act, which is to get money as quickly as possible into the hands of Americans who are struggling as a result of everything that's gone haywire over the past couple of weeks as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. So a little bit of good news this morning regarding all of this. For now, we're live in Salt Lake City. Scott McCain, Fox 13 News, Utah.
In Prime Minister Modi's India, times are tougher than ever before for the country's 180 million Muslims. It all goes back to a religious gathering in New Delhi that took place 10 days before the lockdown was announced. Over 8,000 worshippers attended the congregation at the Markaz Mosque, and nearly 4,300 cases are now linked to this cluster. Online, tweets with the hashtags COVID Jihad and Corona Jihad appeared over 300,000 times. Right-wing media outlets scrambled to capitalize on the anti-Muslim mood.
The Modi government should initiate draconian steps, unforgiving steps to teach groups like the Markaz a lesson. Make them pay.
Only a few days later, 22-year-old Mehboob Ali was attacked by a Hindu mob on the outskirts of the capital. He was returning from the Markaz Mosque. This form of Islamophobia is not new in India. In December 2019, nationwide protests erupted after Prime Minister Modi's Hindu nationalist government announced an amendment to India's citizenship laws that offered amnesty only to non-Muslim illegal immigrants from neighboring countries. It was widely criticized as being anti-Muslim. Hundreds and thousands of students, like Shaheen Abdullah, took to the streets in opposition.
Like once the lockdown started, first thing they did is like whitewash all our graffitis which called out the Islamophobia.
Shaheen's friends were arrested and charged under draconian anti-terrorism laws.
There was a wave of arrests happening after the lockdown, and once we started to get news about people are getting picked up, people went underground. Even I got a call from the special branch asking like, where am I, what is my whereabouts, and they were doing everything to intimidate it. At the time of Corona, at the time of a medical lockdown, who is going to prioritize all these things?
Young student activists like Shaheen
live in fear of being slapped with sedition charges for so-called anti-national behavior. And in a country where the government routinely uses surveillance to stifle dissent, students are more careful than ever before about their online activities.
Critics say that the Prime Minister's government has used the pandemic to launch wide-scale surveillance tools through a contact tracing app called Arogya Setu. The app uses GPS tracking to locate and profile the population in order to monitor the spread of the virus. Already, it has been downloaded over 100 million times. Apar Gupta is worried about the potential misuse of the app.
So while the app by itself would not query a person's religion, it's practically immaterial because they know everything else.
For well-known Indian writer Arundhati Roy, all of this fits into a wider pattern.
Those last few months of uprising probably made the government think that it really needs to put in these ways of controlling. In some ways, you could argue that this particular pandemic came as a political gift to this government because it was seeing a crisis which it didn't know how to deal with the massive uprising of students, of young people, of the left, of lots of Muslims in fury over this, and fury and fear over the new citizenship law. Even the government itself, I think, is full of people full of frightened people, because everybody's major preoccupation is how to please Modi.
The Prime Minister faces staggering challenges in the days to come, as over 1 billion people look towards his government to find a way out of this crisis without undermining India's democracy.